We are continuing to look at the amazing talent and incredible music that Paul McCartney has provided over the decades. I thought I would take a moment to just list some of my personal favorites. I'm sure you've got others. I particularly like I Saw Her Standing There, Things We Said Today, Hey Jude, Maybe I'm Amazed, Band on the Run, Picasso's Last Words, Drink to Me, Live and Let Die, Hi Hi Hi, Sea Moon, Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey, Backseat of My Car, Big Barn Bed, Venus and Mars Rock Show. The songs we were singing: Sing the Changes, Mull of Kintyre, Calico Skies, Waterfalls, Let Me Roll It, Dance Tonight, and that's just a few of the incredible songs that Paul has turned out. And as I said, I'm sure you've got others that are on your list. But all those songs that I just mentioned are on the first album that Paul releases in 2016, which we'll be getting to in just a moment. But first, let's do a recap. In the past 11 episodes, we've broke down what Paul has released by decade. Here's the albums he recorded in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 1990s, in the 2000s, and in 2010 to 2015. He certainly has kept us very entertained. And he doesn't show any sign of slowing down. So in this episode, we're going to look at the music that Paul released between 2016 and 2019. Are you ready? Well then, let's drop the needle. Now, anytime a person reaches advanced age, your natural kind of reaction is to take stock and look back over your life and wonder how you're going to be remembered, perhaps. Well, with the first album that Paul puts out in 2016, he's definitely doing that. He's looking back at what he's done. And the album is called Pure McCartney. It's a compilation album that came out in many formats, but the 4-disc CD, the deluxe edition, contains a whopping 67 tracks. And there are no covers. This is all just pure McCartney. And yes, the tracks I mentioned on my fave list at the beginning of this episode are here. And as you can see, there are many, many, many more. And then in 2017, Paul decides, I'm going to be in a movie again. But he doesn't write this one. He doesn't direct it. It's not a musical per se. He's in Dead Men Tell No Tales, Pirates of the Caribbean. And he plays Uncle Jack to Johnny Depp. And he's almost unrecognizable in the part. And then at Christmas time in 2017, any Beatle fan gets a great Christmas present. It's the official release of all of those early Beatles fan club Christmas records that they put out between 1963 and 1969. And this is the first time they're all gathered together and presented formally. Often these were quite elaborate productions, with bits of new songs, witty, insane dialogue, and a general goofing off. As I said, it's a great Christmas present. Then in the summer of 2018, Paul teases that he's going to release a new album, and it's going to be called Egypt Station, and it's going to be all new music. And he does a lot of advance publicity. First off is the first single, which was released on June 19th, and is I Don't Know and Come On to Me. Then later in June, Paul appears on The Late Late Show with James Corden to do a carpool karaoke segment in Liverpool, which is great. And in it, he performs Come to Me live for the first time. The album is finally released on September 8th, 2018. This is Paul's first studio album since the album New, which was 5 years earlier. The same day the album is launched, Paul performs a secret concert at Grand Central Terminal in New York. I Like Opening Station, Come On to Me, Happy With You, The Rather Risque Fool You, Confidant, People Want Peace, Dominoes, Back in Brazil, Caesar Rock, The Great Despite Repeated Warnings, and the closing, Hunt You Down, Naked, Sea-Link. Egypt Station reaches #1 in the US, and it's his first #1 album since Tug of War. and it is his 8th #1 album overall. And to support the album, Paul goes out on tour, which he calls a Freshen Up tour. And this was the tour, and I mentioned this in a previous episode, but this is the tour that my wife and I got to see him as he played at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. And for the encore, he brought out Ringo on drums and Joe Walsh to play guitar. It was an amazing show. Then in December 2018, Paul releases 2 albums. The first one is a Wings album. It's a compilation. It's called Wings 1971 to 1973. It's a box set that includes Wings' Wildlife album and Red Rose Speedway, and then a never-heard-before live album, Wings Over Europe. But there's still more to come. Paul looks back to 2007, when he was on tour for his Memory Almost Full album to support that, and he played a surprise gig at Amoeba Music in Los Angeles. Various abbreviated versions of the show appeared on limited vinyl records. One was called Amoeba's Secret. One was Live in Los Angeles, which was a free CD given away in the UK with the Daily Mail newspaper. But this is the complete show. It contains all 21 songs. It's released in 2019, and it's called Amoeba Gig. Great concert, but I particularly like Dance Tonight, Sea Moon, I'll Follow the Sun, Calico Skies, That Was Me, and I Got a Feeling. As we continue this mini-series, I'm reaching out to you, as I've done in the last couple of episodes, with a personal plea for help. I would love to end this mini-series doing a little Zoom interview with Paul McCartney. I've put a notice up on his website. Haven't heard anything back yet. But if you know anybody who knows Paul McCartney, or if you know Paul McCartney, could you reach out to him and just see if he'd be interested? That would really be cool. Yeah, that would be something. Now, as usual, I've created a Spotify playlist where you can listen to some of the songs that I've talked about in this episode. And here's the link, and I'll also put it in the comments below. So in the years between 2016 and 2019, Paul releases 5 albums and appears in a blockbuster film. Now, in our next episode, we'll be looking at Paul's 7th decade in music as we look at the year starting with 2020 and moving right up to the present. There's a lot more to come. Thanks for watching, and keep a rockin'.
If you liked this episode, hit the like button, and you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll respond to you. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when future episodes come out.